Alright, algebra folks, we're going to review, and we are going to review, first topic here is piecewise. Your options here that you're taking a look at here, how to do it, they say basically put the function f of x under y equals. Go in your graphing calculator, put whatever they tell you into y equals, and get it. Now, I suggest while you're doing that, you actually set up a table. We told you how to set up an XY. And if you got several pieces, label out your x's. So for instance, if they tell you you've got a function that looks like this, f of x equals, let's say, 3x minus 2, when x is between 5, let's say, and 8, then you're going to go over here, and under 5 and 8, you put 5, 6, 7, and 8. Put it on there. Punch this part right here into the y equals and fill in your table. If you got another 8, let's say it comes in after that. Let's see if we got something like negative 2x minus 4. And it's when x is between 8 and, let's say, 10. Then you would put a little dot across like we told you to. Put an 8 in. Put the 9, put the 10, and you will punch this equation and fill in this side of the table over here, okay? I would also look at it and remember, like if I take this, there is no equal to bar there, so that would be an open circle at that 8. You got your dashed line going across here. This one does have an equal to bar, so that's a solid dot. So when you go to do your graph, you remember which is which. And you will bounce around, like this graph here shows you, hey, I've got a quadratic, and then it stopped, jumped up, all of a sudden I got a linear. Notice it's still a function because you've got a dot there and no dot there. It's an open circle closed. Moves over. Now this one here is a dot way down. This is totally bizarre in here, but we got 4 pieces going on here. 1, 2, 3, and this dot is 4 different things. So if your f of x here with 4 things listed if you were doing it. Obviously, like I said, the bottom line is you put it under y equals, each little piece, do it, get your table set up, hit second graph, gives you the table and all that, and then copy only the points in that restricted area. That's what we call the restricted area for the domain. Like this one, I'm only looking from here to here. Keep in mind, none of this has anything to do with this graph up here, okay? And that's what it tells you, only those points. Then put f of x under y equals and do the same thing under each one. So that's how we create a piecewise. We are also going to talk about shifts. So we got shifts here. You guys were very good about that in school here as far as shifts go. And we look for parent functions like y equals x, y equals, which is linear, y equals x squared, quadratic. Y equals 1b to the x, which is basically ab to the x. You might want to put a little a in there then too. Nothing wrong with that. So there's a little, it's y equals ab to the x. Okay, but the 1 being the parent function, okay? That's your expo. And so that's your exponential. This is absolute value bars. I know they're on a slant. Think of them as really straight if you need to straighten them out there. And don't forget, we also did other ones like square roots. Maybe it's the square root of x. You might want to add that in your list. Or we got cubic roots of x. We also did cubes of x. So you could have an x cubed. There's lots of different ones they could throw at you. And we have the different pieces as far as that goes. Different types of things with shifts. So what goes on here? Basically, you need to compare it to your parent function. There's nothing wrong with putting this whole thing, whatever the parent function is, y equal, and then punch the new one you want in, and see what happens. Did it move left? Did it move right? Did it go up? Did it go down? Did it flip upside down? All those good things, and that's what they're telling you to do. Put it in y equals, okay, and look for the moves. Left, right, up, down. Flip is also reflection. Did it get wider or narrower? Sometimes it's steeper, or they say steeper opens up. All kinds of different words we said for this. So here's a good version right here of vision here. This purplish line here, this blue one is the original equation. That's your parent function, y equals x squared for a quadratic. So what happened when I put a number in front of the a, the 4? Well, it got narrower, okay? It goes up quicker. When you put something less than 1 between 0 and 1, so you may want to write that down once again, between 0 and 1, it opens wider. So that's what happens there, okay? This is what doing that. And if I put a negative sign out in front, it flips it. So you can see the negative sign on this one here. That flips it. That made it wider. Bigger number makes it narrower. That flips it. Now, the left or right has everything to do with inside the parentheses. Either the x squared itself will probably be inside the parentheses, or the b and x going inside the parentheses, we're playing with it. We didn't do too much with that. Absolute value, absolutely. If they put a number inside, like plus or minus inside with the x, same thing with square roots, cube roots, all that stuff. And you do the opposite of what you think to. So if it is a plus inside, I'll write this down for you. So if I had something like y equals x minus 2 squared, then I'm going to actually do the opposite. You're thinking, okay, oh, it's a minus 2. We go left. No, you actually shift the opposite. That goes right 2. Okay? If it was a plus sign, it would go the opposite. Instead of right, it would go up. To the left. If there's something on the outside, remember that shift 2, which is not in the picture here. If I got something like plus 4, that's the one right here on the outside. It tells you to go up or down. In this case, that's up. If it was a minus something, it would be down. It is not the opposite of what we did. All right, so one last thing, and then you've got your mini lesson for a review that you're welcome to watch anytime you want. So, inside once again, these are absolute value bars. They should be straight up and down, okay? Or inside, that's supposed to be parentheses. It's driving me nuts the way this thing looks. You go the opposite, it says right here, left or right. So if it's a minus, you go to the right, the opposite of what you think of, and left the other way. If it's outside the absolute value bars or the parentheses here, then you are going to go up or down. So that's the big key here. So here's a good example right here that tells you, okay, minus 4 inside, so I got to do the opposite of left or right. So it looks like it should go left. No, we're going to go right 4. And the outside is plus 6, so we go up 6. Got 2 more here for you to try. Pause the video for a sec. Make sure you got all this stuff, and I'm going to come back and give you the answers. Okay, so you should have told me several things. What does that negative sign do? It flips it. So that flips it upside down. What does the inside part, the plus 3, do? You go the opposite way, so we're going to go actually left 3. And the piece on the outside tells you up or down. In this case, we are going down 8. On this one here, the second one, I tricked you a little bit. You got to do a little bit of work, so don't get all panicky if they ask you this stuff. First thing we're going to do is move the 6 to the right side. I now have 2y is equal to square root of x minus 2 and a minus 6. And then what do you have to do? Divide by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So this one turns out to be, now remember there's an unwritten 1 in front of this, so this is really a 1/2 times the square root of x minus 2, and then minus 3. So what happens here? Well, this piece here, we say actually, because it's less than 1, opens it wider. The minus 2 inside tells you got to go to the right 2, because it's the opposite, remember. And the piece on the outside tells you up or down, so in this case, down 3. So there's a little video for you, synopsis on piecewise and your shifting, and we will tackle that in class. But there you go for a review for your final exam. Have a good one.